My guy, Peter Brown. How are we, buddy?
Very good. Thank you, Lee.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming on. So, first ever adult class this morning.
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
Good.
Don't be shy.
No, I'm honestly a little bit. When I put together that I was going to be finishing that class and rolling up here seconds later, I was like trying to put myself together in the mirror. But yeah, no, it was awesome.
I love it, man.
Yeah,
Kevin.
and I survived. I was a little bit butterflies help you get through the first little bit. Watching your stats on the wall was a little intimidating for me. I was like, at least I'm going to know I'm going to die before I do. But yeah, it was awesome. It was perfect.
Well, that's awesome, man. I know there's a lot of great places in this town, and obviously there's zero pressure to train here the rest of your life. But based off the fact that we're doing a little podcast, I'm glad you got a workout in with Kevin and the folks downstairs. That's awesome. So I was talking about brown bag and just growing a company, especially a company you believe in that turned into exactly what you thought it would. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big putting things into the universe, and by that I mean into God's hands.
Yeah.
I'm doing this, and here's why, and I'm passionate about it. And I'm going to work until it's done. Yeah. And then, boom, you look up 14 years later, and it's done. And then your family and youth athletics, and you have a youngin' that's a ball player, multiple youngins. To talk about your faith life. Oh, by the way, we have Soul Food Wednesdays.
Okay.
So I'm going to need a little video from you here in a minute.
Oh, boy.
Tell the community how awesome God is.
Yeah.
Favorite verse. This helped me in life. Are you wanting to do that or no?
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
It'll be your face right on our Instagram and my faces and snappies and all that stuff that people do these days on social media.
Yeah.
All you, babe.
Okay.
Talk about God.
Okay. Yeah, so let me start with, I don't know, something that God's been teaching me over the last few months. So we've, my wife and I essentially started Brown Bag out of our home kitchen this is crazy, but I think it was 2008 or 2009, couldn't tell you, kind of a blur. One of those things you wish you paid attention to when you were doing it, but there's no time for that when you're getting started like that. And so I think, no, I don't. I know that God accomplishes what He wants to accomplish when He wants to accomplish it. And so, when you say, God turned it into exactly what you thought was going to happen, I knew that God was going to take care of us and provide for me because He promises He will. But I think He just put that little itch on me to get into food service catering. I was working at Qdoba at the time with the guy I still work with every day, Matt, and he and I said, hey man, do you want to start catering on the side and make a little extra money? And he just said yes. And a couple of days later, I called a friend. I said, hey, would it be okay if I catered a pharmaceutical meal for you? He said, sure. So this is not the story everyone loves to hear, but that was it. We did a meal, and kind of the rest was history.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're all about grittiness around here, and just how if you're aligned with God and you're willing to outwork people, it's normally a pretty good combination.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to, I know God will take care of me, so I'm going to work half as hard as everybody else, and God will take care of me. I know it. He says He will. But when those hard times come, I'm just going to say, God has me. I'm not going to actually work through it. So where's that fine line of like, man, I feel like it's always that word for men like us is balance.
Yeah.
Like, where's the balance of my wife? Where's the balance of my kids? Where's the balance of knowing God gave me these blessings and He's going to take care of me because He says He will, and I'm going to lean into Him. But, man, how do you find that balance as a man that's so passionate about building something and especially once it became a reality of like, oh, man, this is going to turn into more than just your occasional catering. Like, this is real.
Right.
Where's that balance of teaching young people, the kids we train here, the kids in the Knoxville community that might watch this, or even some young adults that are starting their life?
Yeah.
That's all I hear all the time. These kids aren't the same anymore. Well, who's teaching them?
Yeah.
Because the people that taught me the lessons. I didn't just learn them on my own.
Yeah.
So where I guess where is the balance? Where is that line of like, yes, man, I'm going to lean into God no matter what at all times, but by goodness, I'm going to work too.
Yeah. Well, I know the Lord is going to give you that strength, give you that power, and that might be physical energy. When we first started, the hours we were working and the stuff we were doing in my garage, my body couldn't I don't think do those anymore. Right? I mean, it was a far cry, but it was also one of the most fun times in the business. So you're waking up at, I mean, no joke, 4:30 in the morning. You're prepping some food. You're doing all of that work for the catering business. Then one of us drives away to go deliver the food. The other person drives off to our full-time job. You work from 9 to 4, 9 to 5 at the other restaurant. And then you leave there. You go buy some more, buy some products, start prepping for the next day. You're up late. So yeah, there's definitely a grind there, but the Lord provides that energy. Like I said, I think if you want something to be accomplished, he's going to allow you to do it.
I love it.
But as far as balance goes, I think that I think that changes. I know that changes throughout life. I think that you have to just be doing a constant assessment of where you are, and I certainly didn't have that balance. I'm probably saying that like my wife's probably listening right now. Like, no, you don't have balance now, buddy.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Our wives need to meet.
Yeah, but so it's like there needs to be communication with your family. There needs to be communication with close friends who know you and are willing to say something when it needs to be said. And then there needs to be communication with your kids when they're of an age to put that together. But my wife was always wildly supportive through that. And when you're in the start of something like that, I think the Lord gives you a lot of confidence that you probably shouldn't have. Right? So I don't think I was lying awake thinking like, is this going to work? It was like, this is going to work, and I'm going to put everything into it, and why wouldn't it work? At an age and a stage of life where you're a little bit naive that not everything always works out perfect, right? So yeah, no, I think that's that's it for me.
I love it, man. So here's what I heard. For all my 22 to 25-year-old men out there, number one, I say the most important, I said this a few days ago on a podcast with Jacob Warren, the number one decision every man ever makes is the woman he marries. I mean, screw that up, good luck, big dog. Life's going to kick you in the teeth every dang day.
Yeah.
And lean on Jesus, and when you have a goal and a dream, believe in it and chase it. And if your wife supports you, most importantly, lean into God, because he's always going to support you and catch you when you fall. But then you marry a woman that has your back and supports you through your hopes and dreams and is willing to be up at 4:30 a.m. to cook while both of you run off to different directions to empower her husband and support him. And all of a sudden you start your family, and your wife's your ride or die, and all those things, man. Find you a good woman, old buddies out there listening. Find you a good woman, cherish her, pour into God, and chase your dreams. And just it's really a pretty simple recipe, and so many people are just scared to take that step.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we've been married 18 years. I got married when I was a junior in college. And God blessed that decision. I think I made, a better decision at that age than I may have made, earlier or later in life. It was the right time. It was the right, the person that God, picked for me. So.
100%. Me and my wife are pushing. Oh Lord, she'll kill me. I think it's 17 in January. Yeah. I'm almost 99% sure. Yeah. Thanks, man. So I'm chasing you. I'm right behind you. But we ran off to the courthouse as teenagers and started having kids. I don't know. She got pregnant a few months after we got married. She was a teenager. I was 20. But wait. I was 19. She was 18. Yeah, we were teenagers. We had kids. I was 20. You go. But man, it's awesome just to do life with your bride when it's your buddy. Yeah. And then when God's at the center, and you chase your dreams, and you kind of get to the point to where now you're right where you thought you were going to want to be. You're getting a little bored, huh, my friend? You're getting a little restless. Let's talk about it, man. Yeah. That's what people think, man, he built Brown Bag. Now he doesn't have to be there all that much. He's chilling. Yeah, it sounds good, but for people like us. Yeah. No, I think it's important. And, you ask the people close to me, I'm like, I'm right in the middle of this. I don't have any answers, but I got a couple things I'm starting to learn.
So yeah, I mean, so the business starts. It's an absolute whirlwind for, let's say, 7 or 8 years. Everything's going a certain way. It's, up, up, up. Everything's rocking and rolling, and people that have been there are telling you, hey, you need to build the business so that work yourself out of a job. You need to be building the business below you so people can move up and work yourself out of the day to day, so that you can be working on the business, not in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so okay, well, smart, successful people that I trust. That's what I'm going to try to do. They don't tell you is about the time when you get close to that point, when you work yourself out of the day to day and the stuff that you are actually good at. You start looking around, you're like, what in the world, whatever. What's my other skill set? Because I was the guy that woke up early and grilled chicken and cut up vegetables, and I'm really good at that. So you've done something for 14 years. What's your skill set now? And I imagine it's something similar. Similar for you. You're looking, it's like, I was really, really good at something, and not just really good. I kind of feel like we tried to be exceptional. So I think that Brown Bag is exceptional in Knoxville for what we do.
Anybody in this town would agree
Thank you.
that Brown Bag. I mean, I've never seen somebody move and still have an issue with getting in the dang place. I figured you'd move to actually get a few more tables there, pal. Come over there.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I got to sit outside again. It's too cold today to be sitting outside. But no, I mean, listen, that's humble. You love the Lord. You're a good man. I don't think it's like you're trying not to be arrogant. Your food is awesome.
Well, thank you.
People freaking pack that place for a reason.
Yeah.
And playing pro football, you got to be pretty good to do that.
Yep.
And you get institutionalized, and you get used to doing the same thing every day, and your routine's your routine, and your schedule's your schedule. I'm still trying to create like some NFL type schedule so I can stay in my familiar little box. And
Right.
God's saying, no, big dog.
Right.
That's not your life anymore. Quit trying to create something when I have the next phase laid out for you. Just trust me.
Yeah. And how many times have you heard someone say, don't let being a football player be your identity? It's like, that won't be me, right? But then I wake up 14 years later, and I'm like, man, I'm the Brown Bag guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you want that for a long time for a lot of reasons. You want your business to grow. You want the business to succeed because it takes care of a lot of people, and there's a lot of families that are involved in the process, and you need to promote your brand. You want and if you're passionate about something, you're going to talk about something. So Brown Bag's can come up, but then you do a good job, and people look at you as the Brown Bag guy. Like, well, I like to imagine I'm something, whatever.
100%.
Bunch of psychology stuff, but
Listen. Right. I'm a big psychology guy. Fires me.
yeah.
Up.
And so so then you work out of it, and this is pretty emotional. But like the day that the new Brown Bag store opened, I drove away from there, and I was a wreck. I mean, just an absolute mess. Because I think. And I'm sure it was same for you building this place. It's like it's such a grind, and everything's happening day to day, and you're like, this has to happen. We got to get it open. And there were deadlines. There were we're about to lose the other store. The stress is mounting.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't opening a new restaurant. We were moving a store that I was like, am I going to sink this ship? Am I going to be that story on the news where they say, some moron moved 100 feet away from his previous place, and now he has no business. Like everything was going fine, and he changed it and ruined everything. Okay, all these things are going through my mind, despite the fact that God's proven time and time again that was never going to happen, and you have no part in this, Peter. But anyhow, so I'm driving away, and I knew that night, the day that we opened the store, that was the end of my career in Brown Bag as I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was there that. The store is beautiful. Never would have dreamed we had anything like that. Every single day I go in there, it still feels very, very surreal. It's a beautiful. We own a restaurant. We're not leasing a space. We have a perfect space that's built for this crazy thing we started in our kitchen.
It's awesome,
right? And my partner Matt would tell you the exact same thing. It's surreal every day, and I hope it stays that way. I hope that we look at that every single time we pull up to it and we're like, this is above and beyond. Like God has blessed this, and let it be a reminder that if you're going to be blessed with that, you better do something with it.
Yep. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man, how God works. Like, shout out to Scott Stallings. He's supposed to come on here. You know, he kind of works out of town sometimes. And by out of town, I don't mean Chattanooga. I mean Europe. But obviously, he connected us when me and Scott were at breakfast last week. And it's crazy how God puts people together at the perfect times. So I wasn't 14 years. I played in the NFL 11. Okay. But you count college football, you know, it turns it into 16, right? So 14, 15, 16, 11, whatever. Yeah. The time's similar enough. 18 years married, 16 years of marriage. I'll never forget, I was driving a U-Haul home from Atlanta. Got traded to Atlanta my last year. Played one more year with Arthur Smith and the boys down in Atlanta. My daughter Addison, who was 8 or 9 at the time, was in the front seat of the U-Haul with me. And I was driving home. And I knew, and it was like this weird, I made it, but I never came up for air, bro. Yeah. Like, I was head down until that moment in a U-Haul on the way home. Like, there was never any, I've accomplished it, enough's enough. Like, go on cruise control now, Lee, you're good. It was balls to the wall, excuse my French, until that moment. Right. And I'm driving home, and I cried like a freaking baby because I'm like.
Oh, and it feels so wrong. Like, I don't even know who wants to hear, like, man, like, we reached the pinnacle. Like, there's so much guilt associated with even saying that out loud because it's like, it's like, I'd give my, left arm to open a restaurant, buddy. Yep. But yeah, no, there's a lot of guilt associated with, like, that's when it hits. Mm-hmm.
And then it's funny you say that because transition to Triple F. Yeah. Because I'm, listen, maybe I'm just a little bit manic and I don't do anything in moderation and I'm out of my dang mind and I feel like I got to go, please God and make sure that all these blessings, I do something so grand that so many kids get affected and I give back or wait, is that for me or is that for God? And it's all this tug of war and it's like, I don't ever want, just like you said about the restaurant, I don't ever want to walk into Triple F Elite Sports Training and lose the wow factor of thank you, God. Look at this place. Like, everything gets normalized. Like, day one we open, you walk in and it's like, holy moly, God, why me? How did this is just so stinking awesome. And you get chill bumps every time you walk in the door. And then 5 years from now, what's next? So that's why I think we get put in each other's lives at a perfect time, old buddy. I think it's fun. So, hey, all my big ugly suckers are coming in town here soon. Okay. All these future NFL guys. Yeah. Brown bag, relationship, officially signed, sealed, delivered. You got to protein them up and feed them.
Yeah, we can do that. We can produce a lot of protein.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I'm excited about it. Last year, I was just handing them brown bag gift cards. And shout out to my guy, Naj at Nick and Jay's, at my little breakfast joint. Actually, you know what? Naj, me and him are like, it's a love-hate relationship. Okay. I love him sometimes. It is what it is. But no, Naj is my guy. So they were going down there and running a breakfast tab, and I was sending them to your place. And we were a little bit of a fart in a whirlwind. But I'm excited this year to get it really fine-tuned and just use you guys. Yeah. And just get these boys fed and get Eddie over to Eddie's Health Shop to get a really fine-tuned system of how to make sure that by the time they walk into those NFL locker rooms, they're in the best stinking shape of their life. And nutrition fork and spoon is such a huge part of it. People don't realize just how. That's why I feel terrible, bro. Like I hate telling people I'm fat because look at me, I'm not fat. But to me, I feel terrible, and it's because nutrition was so important to me for so long, and I established a normal of eating the right way.
And you had been there. You actually had the help. And I think there's a people assume that these college campuses or where these athletes are that they're getting that kind of dialed in nutrition, and they're really not. They are making their own decisions, and they could choose to eat healthy. That the options might be there, but whether they do or not, and whether they realize the implications, maybe not so much.
You're 100%. That's like everybody asks me all the time because everyone knows what they would do in someone else's shoes. I'm kidding. And it's like, how do these guys go broke? And I'm like, well, because they're 23-year-old kids with no financial literacy that didn't have a dad or grew up poor, so they've never understood. They don't even know what taxes are when they get their first signing bonus, for crying out loud.
Right.
But much less how to sustain wealth over a 50-year period. Heck, I did some things. I look back and I was scared to death to go broke. I had a father who transitioned out of pro football and lost all his money and started a business and died at 46 years old. So I watched an NFL football player as my father do it wrong. So I was super aware, and I still look back and I'm like, my God, like my financial literacy was poor at times, being 25 years old and having an influx of money that wasn't going to last and all those things.
And a highly abnormal influx of money.
And for this short time period.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're playing 10 years and they play 3. And it's like, oh, crap, I planned for 10.
Yeah.
Well, even though you plan for 10, you really should be planning for 50 years with what I have right now. And then, boom, it's crazy. But the same thing with nutrition. It's like, yeah, they're like, do they not give them classes? I'm like, of course they give them classes, guys. The NFL Players Association, like, it's one of their main missions is for these guys to sustain wealth.
Yeah, but how old are they?
Correct.
And what were you doing at that age?
Correct.
It's like, just because you were sitting in a classroom, like, yeah.
So it's the same thing with college athletes. It's like when I was a college athlete, I didn't worry about nutrition. I could eat pizza and wings and Hot Pockets and ramen noodles and still had a six-pack.
Yeah.
Whereas now, if I even look at ramen noodles, my six-pack goes away, right? So it's like all these things I try to tell these guys, especially once they're going towards the NFL ranks, and especially our adult members and people here that are 30 to 35 to 40 to 45 when the metabolism's going, like all of a sudden you have to reset your normal. Your normal cannot be what it used to be or you're going to feel awful.
Yeah.
And my normal was a certain way for so long, and now I got to do something, old buddy. But I say it every week.
Yeah.
Every week.
Hey, we're only 3 minutes away. You got no excuse.
No question.
Yeah.
Brown Bag and Triple F, I know where a gym is.
Yeah.
All I do is walk out that door.
Yeah.
And then Brown Bag's right down the street. So, but it's just crazy how simple but hard it is to be healthy and, keep your fitness right. Our adult programmer, whoever, Charlie Patron or, all these places in town, even a Gold's Gym or National Fitness. I mean, there's a million places in town to train, depending on what you want and what you're looking for. But doing it and eating right and sleeping right, man, when you do that, it just changes everything, the way you feel.
Yeah. It's a lot of, I'm not good at this, but a lot of discipline and a lot of mature decisions throughout the entire day that lead to good sleep and then doing it all over again. And, yeah. It's tough.
Ultra competitive people, though, I've noticed over the years that guys wired like us, it's a roller coaster, buddy.
Yeah.
Because it's you have to be chasing something, and no matter how centered we are with God, it's like, man, God, why can't I just have calm? Just give me calm. Teach me how to be calm.
Yeah.
And just rest.
Yeah.
I don't rest well.
No.
I don't rest well.
You can ask my wife. She so the last 3 months I've kind of tried to step out of the restaurant, step out of the business a lot, and I have, but she's like, my gosh, you were around a lot. She's like, you were home more than I was. I was like, it's like we got to find you something to do, and I get it, and I think I'm hopeful that I'm sure that God's teaching me something or giving me a skill set hopefully that I maybe didn't have before. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, being at rest and being okay with that can be really, really, really hard when you've kind of gone for a while.
Yep.
You feel like you're, that God's blessed you with abnormally with gifts and talents and people around you and all these things that have made success possible.
Yep. And
then you feel like if I'm just sitting around for a day, am I wasting the talents that God's given me?
Yep. 100%. 100%. God bless us.
At the same time, God's probably going to accomplish His goals with or without us, so we don't have to worry about that, do we?
Probably.
That's right.
Yeah, we're just in His way most of the time.
Right. Yeah,
it's like 100%. And once again, it's crazy when we bring it back to me.
Yeah.
Like no. You like just shut up, get out of my way, and just kind of go where I need you to go.
Right.
And sometimes that is nowhere. I love it, man. You fire me up. So, how many kids you have?
2 boys. I've got a 13-year-old Jansen, 11-year-old Will. Older son plays tennis, younger son plays baseball, mostly. And then, my wife, Paige.
I love it.
Yeah.
Miss Page, look forward to meeting her. So Jansen just moved to Webb, right?
Yep.
Because tennis coach over there you're a big fan of.
Yeah.
He
Coach Jimmy.
been around a few years.
He's a legend. Yeah. So he's coaching. Jansen is the fourth generation in the family that he's coached tennis.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then the younger one is at Farragut.
Mhm.
What club baseball team does he play for?
He plays for the Tennessee Nationals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's been with them for 4 or 5 years.
So Nationals and Five Star have their kind of bond, right?
Just recently, yeah.
Just recently, yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
they
I know.
kind of teamed up.
Yep. So Jesse Smiley and all those boys. Obviously, we built a little Five-Star relationship this year. It's been awesome. It's been cool getting to know all those guys. And I know they're building a facility right over here by Faith Promise.
That's what I've been told. Yeah.
Breaking ground,
Okay.
custom facility. Diamond, here they come. Watch out. What is it? Brett has his little place.
Yep.
Diamond has their place. Who else has a baseball facility? Anybody? Brett, Diamond. Does anybody else have one? RBI has one. Wasn't it over
yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brody used to go over there a little bit.
Yeah, the Bearden area. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Nationals are coming after you, boys. Club baseball in Knoxville, look out.
Utter mayhem.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
The 8 to 18-year-old parents in the baseball world, it's gangster.
Yeah.
Like they're all about it.
Yeah.
It's like a competition to see how many different teams you can play for.
Oh yeah.
It's wild, bro.
It is. Yeah. Just rotating.
And bats are cheap, gloves are cheap. I watched this podcast, or my friend sent me something yesterday, or I don't know what it was, some guy on a podcast, and he's like, here's the deal, man. Like, there's $4,000 in bats in the dang dugout, and there's 3 hits a game. He's like, what are we doing?
Oh yeah.
It was like 8U baseball, $380 bats. My wife used to get mad at me because I was a play it again sports guy.
Oh, it's amazing.
I'm like, and until this kid connects with the ball on a regular basis, we ain't going to buy a new bat for him just to swing it.
Well, playing again's tricky because it's not all used.
No question. They'll get you. They'll get you. I'm like, where's the used stuff at, bro? He's like, come on over here. Come on over here. Oh, they're always taking good care of me. My wife, literally. So I bought my kid a pair of used cleats one year from Play It Again. They were fresh, man. They looked so new. He wanted them. He wanted them.
Yeah.
So we go home, and my wife crushed me. I mean, she was so mad.
I think that's fair.
No question. 100% I deserved it. But I'll go to Play It Again. We get some stuff. He's like, Dad, how about these cleats? I'm like, all right, man, no problem. So I ended up having to go buy him some new ones, and those ended up being like his practice cleats or whatever.
Yeah.
But Play It Again sports. Yeah, I've been in there a bunch for baseball stuff.
Yeah.
Football, you kind of get your equipment from the team or whatever. But the baseball world,
the second you hear a ball come off the new bat, come back a week later, half the dugout's got the same one.
There's no question.
Yeah.
And once again, there ain't a bat under $300, is there?
Under?
Yeah.
I mean, there is, but
Not when anybody's buying.
you're basically just flushing hits down the toilet at that point, right? You got to have those extra feet.
It's becoming a country club sport, man.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It is. Female volleyball, baseball. Obviously, golf and tennis is kind of a one-man show, but team sports, like everybody played in their little rec leagues and things back in the day. Now the baseball's getting wild. It's the wild, wild west. But
Yeah, no, you go see the parents at baseball and the parents at tennis. For our life, it's like, it's a 180. Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I used to sit
And they're both fun. They're all freaking crazy. I mean,
Oh, no question.
they're all absolute loons. But the tennis parents who have just them and no one to help them rein it in. Not saying baseball parents really ever rein it in either, but at least there's some sort of social setting where they have to hypothetically, control themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
And listen, this is not anti-parents. Me and Peter don't need hate mail here.
No, we're the ones doing it. We're right there with them.
No question. So it's like when my kids played youth baseball, I would always sit in the outfield. I'd come because I was always in the off season when I was flying back and forth between Buffalo and Tennessee or Oakland and Tennessee. I didn't do the off season program my last year in Atlanta. I was getting too old for that stuff. So, anyways, I'd always fly back home just for 72 hours, and typically it was just running the ballparks.
Right.
And I would sit in the outfield, and all the parents. I mean, you know how it is, man. Your kid plays youth baseball, and it's like you might get paired with a bunch of parents that you want to do life with. You might not.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on the vibe. AAU basketball is the same way. You're traveling with these people and doing life with them. You become family with your kids' teammates' families.
Yeah.
And it was a great group. God bless this man. To this day, dear friends with 4 or 5 different couples from youth baseball.
It's impressive.
And I would be in the outfield, and they'd be like, Lee, why don't you ever sit with us? And I'm like, I would rather be kicked in the private parts for 3 hours than sit with you guys. Like, you run back behind home plate every time your kid's up to bat, and all of a sudden now you're a baseball coach because you played baseball, high school baseball, and hit 14 home runs, back in the 70s. And I'm like, oh my God, just bury me. So I just go to the outfield, and they're like, come on, bro. I'm like, God, you drive me insane.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? I'm like, just let them play and have fun. They're 9. They're 9. And they have $400 bats, and, it's like, holy moly. But youth baseball, man, it's gotten crazy, which is awesome. These parents, you only get to enjoy your kids' Little League experience once.
Yeah.
And if they love it and they're good at it and it builds confidence and teamwork, that's one thing I was talking to some folks about the other day. I'm on my soapbox now, bro. I got to get off of it. This is the last one. No. I'm getting off.
Roll.
Promise. Rock and roll, baby. Brown bag. Go get your brown bag. Buffalo chicken tacos. All right, sorry, I got excited.
That's awesome.
It's my go-to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If we would start truly highlighting what youth sports is all about, and that's character building and propelling you to life, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, youth athletics, and like I tell folks down here when their kid joins the gym or when I do a tour or when people come in, I'm like, listen, I want to be a part of helping you make your child, not make them, help them become the best version of themselves.
Exceptional.
And never, ever accepting anything less, no matter what. I don't care if you're a youth baseball player, if you're building a restaurant, if you're a pro athlete, if you're a dentist, if you're the janitor, be the baddest to the bone janitor for 2 or 3 years and then start your own janitorial service.
Yeah.
Like, go be great. Don't work at Qdoba your whole life.
Right.
Go build brown bag.
Yeah.
And that's my thing for these parents. But instead, sometimes it's like, man, you make it about posting on Instagram that your kid hit a home run instead of just empowering your child and teaching them lessons after every game. Hey, man, those 3 strikeouts, guess what? You're going to go on a job interview one day and you're not going to get it. Somebody else is going to get it. Or, hey, when that coach yelled at you while you're at Qdoba before you're the owner of Brown Bag, you're going to have, I don't know if you loved your boss at Qdoba or not, but you know what I'm saying. You're going to have a boss in life, right? You're going to have a boss in life that might yell at you or get onto you for something that you were trying to do good. You just didn't do it good because you weren't experienced enough or you weren't prepared. So, like, all these lessons of youth athletics, all the things we do down here on the floor here, we're going to grind and try to get grittiness out of your kids. We're going to let Jesus be at the center at all times, and it's life building down there because no one's going to play pro sports. That's not how it works.
Right.
Like, sure, It's easy for me to say, but like, the likelihood is that our dentists, our restaurant owners, our gym owners, our janitors, our accountants, our doctors, like, all those people are right down there on that turf as youth athletes right now. And all these lessons that are getting taught to them through this gym training and their youth athletics and their coaches and their teammates, it's life building.
Right.
Stop making it about posting that your kid struck out Susie's kid, to win the game.
Yeah.
Like, make it about just some type of life lesson, for crying out loud. Help me. Sorry, I'm done.
No, I love that.
I'm done.
And I'm guilty of it.
We all are.
As anyone. But the truth is that, do we want to push our kids super, super hard? Well, yeah, because God's blessed them with certain talents and abilities, and as fathers, we have a responsibility to help them turn into men that are going to use those, hopefully times 10 what we did, right? Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that, but making the jump from, man, I need to push them so that they become a professional athlete. That's probably not going to be super healthy or helpful, right? And I mean, I probably think about those kind of things, way too much because, what is the end goal, right? Do I need my son to play professional baseball, or did he fail? Well, no, that sounds crazy if you say it out loud,
right?
But, are you treating his successes and failures like they're all adding up to that or not adding up to that? Mm-hmm. And none of us want to see our kids fail. None of us want to see our kids strike out. None of us want to see our kids have a rough day on the mound, or lose in the first round of a tennis tournament, or whatever it is. We hate seeing that, but if you can step back, you can also recognize it's the best thing for them. And what did that matter? And can you name that tournament now? Where were you, and what happened? And did you still get a really big ring? Like, right,
100%.
right. And so, yeah, no, I mean it's easier to say afterwards, but that if they're allowed to love it and still be pushed, because you're not doing them any favors treating them like they're in t-ball their entire life.
Mm-hmm.
They have to learn that success and failure is real.
100%. And here's the deal: there are professional athletes in this town that are 8 years old. There are professional athletes in this town that are 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I'll be darned if us here at this gym or any other gym in town or their parents should be the reason they weren't pushed hard enough to get there.
Right.
Like 150% push your kid to be a pro athlete. But really you're pushing your kid to always understand the end goal is the best version of yourself and what God has planned for you.
Yeah.
Period.
What's the if you're doing it as a loving father, as a loving mother, I'll say this under God's design.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst that happens if you push your kid to be the best whatever they are?
Yep.
Right?
They become exceptional.
Right.
And that's the one thing I tell my kids all the time. There is a very select few human beings in the world named mom and dad that truly want you to be better than they are. Like your siblings, it's like, yeah, I kind of want big bro or little bro, but yeah. And like it's your best friend. It's like, man, I'm super happy for you, dog, but do I really want you to have a prettier wife and more money and be closer to God than me and be a better person than me? Like, do you really want that? Like, right? And your parents, they like, it's a non-negotiable, no-brainer. They are desperate for you to be better than them.
Yeah.
And there's only two people on earth, maybe your grandparents or whatever, that are and there's obviously
truly feel that way.
They truly just, and not only feel that way, but are working to make it happen.
Right.
And when that's the outlook and Jesus is at the center and you're just fired up, and that's why athletics is my life, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm not a football player. I tell my wife all the time, if it says anything about football on my tombstone, well, actually, I just throw me in the cooker. Right. I tell my wife, throw me in the cooker, take a bubble bath with me one last time, flush me down the drain. I'm out. I'm in heaven, baby. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
But like I don't want to be Lee Smith, man. That was the football player, right?
Yeah.
Or that was the gym owner, right? Yeah, naturally that's what'll happen because people associate you with what you did and what you built. And Brown Bag's awesome. And it's going to be standing hopefully for 100 more years.
Yeah.
But truly 100 years from now, when people are eating at Brown Bag, they're not going to be talking about Peter.
Yeah.
100 years from now, and people are training down here on this turf. Who even knows if it's named Triple F then?
Right.
They're not going to be saying, this old football player built this place in the century. No one cares. So what legacy do you leave? Who do you empower? Fires me up, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited to meet you.
Yeah, and how many lives you're going to change in this building between now and then, and how many people can you raise up through your business that you have an impact on, no matter how short it is.
Yep.
Let's say it's 3 months, 6 months, and we've been blessed at Brown Bag with some people that have just been around for decades, and that's just a testament to God's grace and love. I mean, we have exceptional people, and they're not people that we went out and found. I mean, God brought unique individuals into our business family, that we don't deserve.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. Well, I love it. I have no idea how I heard about it. I'm gonna guess Charlie Patron.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess. Back in the day, while I was playing, I was probably over at the Wood Gym trainer, and he said, "Hey, swing by there on your way home," because we live over off Westland, and I've been a believer ever since. But it's not. Because
can't really understand how I missed you, by the way.
It's not because I like you. I'll be honest. Like I didn't even know you. It's because your food's awesome.
I blended a lot easier than you blend in.
Yeah, it's impossible. But you miss me. It's literally the same gal down there every time I go. I feel like I need to learn her name.
It's Mahana.
Mahana,
Yep.
100%? Okay.
Yep.
Mahana. I told Mahana last year when I was bringing all those big combine guys in, I need to talk to your owner. And she's like, he'd love to. And, of course, it never happened until I went to breakfast with Scott. But I'm glad to do life with you, bro. I'm glad you're a part of it. I can't wait to get this food stuff figured out so we can take care of these combine guys.
Excited, yeah.
I love that the first thing you said was, man, if I'm going to be a part of this, how are we going to pour faith into these boys as they go off to NFL locker rooms and, once again, have a big-time blessing from God to go become a professional athlete? How are we going to empower their faith life as they go into truly the viciousness of an NFL locker room culture? It's not like there's a Bible verse and a cross in the middle of the locker room by any means. It's not much different than a bunch of 16-year-old boys hanging out down the street in these football locker rooms.
Right.
So I tell our boys all the time, man, we become the worst version of ourselves in those locker rooms when men start feeding off each other and there's nobody in the middle of us to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Who believes in Jesus here?
Yeah.
Like just that statement, all of a sudden,
Who's going to act like it?
silences the room. Like, all right, we're good, but let's act like it a little bit, boys. My goodness, we're getting way out there now. It's a vicious culture. Just that boys club, NFL locker rooms, high school football locker rooms. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but that was awesome for you to say, like, hey man, how are we pouring into their faith life? Like, sure, we're going to feed them good. We're going to make them bigger, stronger, faster, and help them go play pro sports. But how we feed into their spiritual lives and the Triple F combine months of the year. We're going to have a big-time plan for their spiritual growth now, all because Peter Brown came into my life. I'm serious, though. And I'm not – listen, Rich, I'm serious, though. Rich is passionate about it.
Yeah.
But, like, you saying that yesterday was that God moment for me of, like, it's non-negotiable. Now, we're not going to force him to do it. If we have a Muslim guy training with us, I'm not going to force him to come to the Bible studies, but he'll be welcome.
Right, absolutely.
And,
well, you're gonna love him.
100%.
You're gonna love him the way Jesus loves him as well.
We, for whatever reason, we got at a time last year we had multiple Indian kids join kind of in the same few weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know why it happened the way it did. It just naturally did.
Yep.
So a couple of them are Hindu. They come to our Bible studies. They are welcome. They eat a little pizza. They hang out with their Hindu. We love them the same. Like they're my buddies. I love them. So, but for the guys that are God-fearing, faithful Christian men, and all the men, but those dudes, I want to make sure there's something awesome for them to grow during this process and propel them into these locker rooms fired up for Jesus. So I appreciate that, bro, because I'm going to make it a priority.
Yeah, we don't want to just provide them with a big pan of sliced chicken and send them on their way. And I think doing that, like my partner Matt always says, he's like, doing everything exceptional shows Jesus. So I do believe, like, you grill that chicken to the best of your ability and you cut it to the best of your ability and you make sure it tastes better than the best chicken you can produce given the circumstances. I think that matters. That being said, is like, you also need to back it up. So when you see that person every single day coming into the restaurant, I need to learn their name and I need to learn their story and I need to be able to pour into them when they need to hear something. And that might not be super complicated or super deep, or I might not be sharing a Bible verse with them, but yeah, I need to hold myself accountable to do that thing when that starts rolling.
I love it, man. Sliced chicken, Jesus, and sports.
There you go.
That's us, babe.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Thank you, Lee.
Hut Hut Podcast, my guy. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.